welcome. It's a Wednesday night edition of Inside the Headset. We're live and on the air. It's week 3. It's game 3. It's quickly on the horizon. Got a lot of coaches that are active. We're going to start it off in the great state of Alabama. Going to talk to the head coach of the Helena Huskies, head coach Richie Busby. Coach Busby, thank you for joining us on the air.
Yes, sir. Glad to be here, man.
Well, last Friday night you got into it and was over at McAdory. 29-28 is what we've got, and came away a winner. Talk a little bit about it.
Oh man, it was a back and forth game. Went down 13-0. I felt like if we could stay in the game in the first half, we'd have a chance at the end. We ended up scoring second quarter, making it 13-7, and then had a drive which we should have gotten a field goal off right before half. But first game deal, we mismanaged the clock and didn't get the field goal off. So we went in a half 13-7, and then came back out in the third quarter, had a good drive, took the lead, and then it kind of went back and forth from there, and took the lead with a minute 50 to go. The clock stopped working at about 5 minutes in the third quarter, so that was a kind of a weird deal, but they missed a field goal at the end for us to win 29-28.
Wow. And, to start it off like that, that's a great win for you and your club.
Yeah, absolutely. They're the good ball team. I think they'll win a couple games in the playoffs in 6A, and they had opened up by beating Pleasant Grove, which had been in the 5A state finals 2 out of the last 3 years. So really proud of our team. We knew we'd face some adversity, which we did, going down 13-0. Took a little while for us to get our feet under us, but we did, and came back and got a couple of drives going, and then got our defense, going and got a few stops. But it proved a lot to us, things that I was worried about. Could we deal with some bad stuff happening to us? And we did some really good things on both sides of the ball. Our kicking game was really, really good all night, which we expected, and but we also did some things that we need to correct. But played a lot better than we did in our scrimmage. Overall happy, obviously, to get a win. But a lot of things we got to correct going into this week.
What did you think really quick? When you look at it, and you pop the film up and you start looking at it, and dissecting it, trying to figure out, whether or not your twos, and you were working some twos in there probably, outside your ones. Did any of the kids step up and grab the game quick, and you saw, wow, man, that kid, we threw him in there. And can you mention any of those kids that, maybe that are a two that you jumped up in there and did a real good job on Friday night?
Well, I don't know about twos, but we moved our Mike linebacker DJ Williams, who is a 6'5", 225-pound kid that we had at defensive end, and so we moved him 3 weeks ago to middle linebacker, which is a very hard position to move to in the middle there. Just the feel of the game, also getting us lined up, and I thought he did a really, really good job. He had 15 tackles in his first game to ever play. True game, first game in Mike linebacker. But he has a huge presence in there, and he is a legit 6'5", and he can run. Was really proud of him, and at the end of the day, I was really proud of our quarterback. I mean, he, overall, he played really well, and we got the ball back down 28-22 inside 2 minutes, and we went in 2-minute offense, and he made 2 passes, and we scored on a 42-yard corner post to take the lead back. I was really proud of him. Our run game was pretty solid. Our O-line, once they got their feet under them, we played pretty well up front. Just kind of controlling the ground. And we knew going into that game that we needed to keep them close because they have some tremendous athletes at McAdory that can really run, that can get out away from you in a hurry. And we felt like all week if we could just stay within striking distance in the second half, we'd have a chance, and that's kind of the way it worked out.
Penalty-wise and turnovers, which is your section, how'd you do?
We did not have any turnovers on either side of the ball. They fumbled a couple of times and got them back, but we didn't have any turnovers, which obviously is a huge deal.
Oh gosh, yes, especially the
Penalties,
first game. The first game.
penalties were. We had a lot of penalties against us. The game lasted 3 hours and 10 minutes, which is probably the longest game I've ever been involved in, where weather or a severe injury was not involved. Had multiple spottings of penalties that were wrong, that kind of thing. So I guess it's kind of an early season game for everybody involved in the game, both teams, officials, that kind of stuff. But it's not a clean game either way. But as far as turnovers go, there was not necessarily a turnover on either side.
Well, it's fixable. I mean, whether and I can say it in the state, it's kind of different around most areas. But I can say it, and I've been around Alabama officials and whatnot, and this is the problem you guys may be having in Alabama. We're having it in Tennessee. There are no officials, so there's nobody filling the back, and the reason why is, and I'll go ahead and say it, the older crowd. Okay, back when I first got in this sport in 98 and 99 and 2000, that elderly official crowd that was working the whistle and were running the state tournaments and stuff in the state of Tennessee, they wasn't letting any of the young guys come up. They wasn't grooming. They hogged the whistle, as we would say, and they took they did the TV. Officials lined out who did TB games back then and stuff like that. Well, when you do that, you don't let a younger guy that needs to come on up and start and encouraging people to be an official, and then why bother if I'm not going to get to do a game, if I'm not going to get a chance to do a state tournament or a playoff game or something like that. And so in our state, I really think the reason why we don't have any officials, I don't think it's because of the interest. I think it's because the officiating crew that was before this crew that's now set them up for what I guess you would call failure.
Yeah, and I know in y'all state and all the southern any state in the country, the lack of officials has been a big deal, and there's been a big push in the state of Alabama to promote educating and trying to get basically the ex players to come out and be officials and that kind of stuff. So, and I think our state has done a good job with that. It's a hard job. There's no doubt. And every level of classification, it's harder. The game's faster. The players are bigger. I don't envy the job they do. I question the job they do sometimes just as a coach, not, in any other way than just trying to make it fair for my team. And, without the officials, we wouldn't have a game.
Yeah.
So we got to continue to find a way to attract young people. And like you say, you go to a game on Friday night, and especially a high profile game. If you look out there, most of the officials are 50 years old and older.
Yes. Yes.
And probably what you say, yeah, that's probably an issue. But we got to find a way to continue to keep these guys. We've raised the pay in our state, but pay is not going to fix all the issues with the lack of officials. A lot of it is the abuse they take, and I'm not excluding myself from that. I mean, I'm going to fight for what I think is right for my kids within the rules and things like that. But I know all the states in the National Federation have done a really good job of trying to recruit new officials and keeping them in the game because, like I said, without them, we wouldn't have a game.
Very well put, Coach Busby. Appreciate you, commenting on that. It's just it's a need we're going to have. And I mean, I don't know about the other sports. I don't follow them that much, so I don't know when it comes to soccer and umpires for baseball and things like that. I don't know anything about their sports and how they work their deals and who comes up and who does what. But anyway, I do want to say one thing that I learned from Coach Creasy. He traveled to Texas and took on Anna last Friday night. And in speaking with him earlier today, State of Texas, no sideline videos, no drones are used. They play by college rules. What do you think about that?
There's some things in Texas that I like. I mean, I know they play basically by NCAA rules. The receivers can cut block on the edges, which I think is very big when it comes to perimeter bubbles and stay screens and things like that. I am a proponent of sideline video.
Yeah,
I think it allows us to make adjustments, but to each his own. Whatever we're asked to do, that's what we're going to do. Um, Colleges forever. I always thought it was weird that high schools could have video on the sideline. The NFL could have the iPads on the sideline, but yet colleges couldn't, and now they can. So, uh, you know, I'm for whatever's best for the game.
yeah,
And
and and that's
what,
what Kevin said. Kevin said, he feels like eventually technology will overrule and that everybody will want to take advantage and harness the technology and not be a prisoner. If they've got sideline video and you got sideline video, as Kevin always says, it's raining on their side of the field and it's raining on my side of the field. So it's even.
right?
I really, and of course, you guys know more about the rules, and but I just don't see where technology like that. Now the drones, that gets into a different area. I'm a little bit different because in our position, I'm in the tower business. You got if you working around the structure business. Hollywood Hester can't. He's not supposed to go out and fly a drone because Hollywood don't have a pilot's license. So you're supposed to have
Yeah, yeah.
and so and plus when you're flying it around people, that's an issue. I'm a little bit different about it because I don't know what that mechanical thing's going to do. So it's but that's just my own opinion. Whatever. Let's move on. We've had a great conversation and we're kicking off the show great tonight. But you got Chilton County. Talk to me a little bit about that one.
Well, we're looking at possible 2 inches of rain Friday night. So, as you know, and any coach knows, that kind of rain can equalize a lot of things. Um, we've got to go on the road also, which 2 years ago we were down 3 touchdowns to them going the second half and had to come back late to beat them. It's always a hard place to play. Anytime you got to travel down 65 south this time of year, there's still people trying to get to the beaches. So you could hit a traffic jam that's just stopped at any time. So travel's a worry. Um,
How
they're
far
very
is it?
talented. They've had really good.
How far is it?
It's probably about in a car in a bus. It's probably about an hour and 15 minutes.
Okay.
They've had some really good players the last couple of years. Two of their players from last year's team are on the Auburn roster. So they always have talent, and like I said, it's a hard place to go play. They play on natural grass, which it's weird to say, but this day and age in Birmingham and 6A football, that's kind of an anomaly. We don't play on natural grass a whole lot, so kind of worry about that, especially when there's forecast of 2 inches of rain.
So there's
'Cause
no
that can
getting
equalize a lot of things.
there's no getting around the rain. It's going to rain. It's 80%. What is it? What is your chance?
Oh, it's 70 to 80%. They're talking about 2 inches of rain that day, but it's like I told our kids today. It's going to rain for both teams, so I don't want to hear any whining about being wet and all that kind of stuff. It's going to be wet for them just like it is for us. But as you know, that football bounce is weird anyway, and then you start throwing in those kind of elements. It's concerning. It's our first region game of the year, and we really need to get this one because we have a very tough road ahead of us with Spain Park, Moody, and Oxford, and Ben Russell, and those next 4 games. So this game is extremely important to us.
Well, and staying healthy. Just because you're a little bit more prone to injuries when it's wet. Things aren't stable underneath of you, and you're trying to go full power.
Well, there's no doubt about that. So there's a lot of things you worry about when you got those kind of conditions out there. But the end of the day, it's the same for both teams, and we've got to find a way to go down there and get a win on the road and come back home and get ready for Spain Park, who beat Hoover for the first time in 9 years, and dropping down from 7A. So we got a lot ahead of us, but we got to take care of this one first.
Coach, I can't thank you enough for being on Inside the Headset. It's always a pleasure to have you. Good luck on the road. Stay safe, and we'll. I don't think there'll be a show next week. I think I'm supposed to go to Alabama Wireless, so I'm scheduled to be the photographer down there. So I guess I'm headed to. I guess I'm headed to Hoover.
Oh,
That
good.
that golf that golf outing's at Ross Bridge.
That's right, and I may be on standby for a team, so either way, I'll probably see you there.
Oh, I can't wait. I'd love to see you. Yeah, and Ross Bridge is always so special. I love that place. I mean, it doesn't feel like you're in Birmingham when you slide over there, and I don't mean that rude to Birmingham at any point, but it's a special little pocket there in Hoover.
It is. It's a beautiful place.
Well, Coach, I hope to see you next week. Good luck on Friday night. Safe travels. Come away with the win.
All right, thank you, Stuart. Go Huskies.
Go Huskies.